Well, hello everybody. Today we are in a place called White City. It gets its name from the Franco-British exhibition of 1908, where on this site was built a vast complex of palatial white buildings that were all pretty mystical. Just look at the Daily Mail building, it was really quite insane. So the whole thing was the brainchild of some very prominent Freemasons. The president of the works was the Earl of Derby, and the Commissioner General was a guy called Imre Kiralfy, the man who created the Entente Cordiale Lodge, number 2796. You've probably heard of the Entente Cordiale. It was an agreement of friendship between England and France, signed in 1904. The weird thing about it is that the Entente Cordiale Lodge was formed 5 years before that. They say that the founding of the Entente Cordiale Lodge was an attempt to enhance cooperation between English and French Freemasons, and they collaborated by building the White City. It was essentially like a great work. Of course, there was a lot of imperial optimism back in 1908, but the First and then the Second World War really put an end to that. And the White City fell into total disrepair. And the BBC bought themselves this chunk of ruins to build their television centre. The part that the BBC bought was once called the Court of Honour. Of course, nobody really knew at the time, but we know now, that the BBC turned the Court of Honour into what I can only describe as the court of perverted weirdos. In actual fact, they still have one of their signs here. I'm only joking. There is no sign there. But there should be. Did you know that buildings can actually change people? I think the best example of that are the Houses of Parliament. Brand new, fresh-faced MPs go in there as ordinary, honest members of the public, wanting to help honest, ordinary members of the public. But somewhere along the way, that building intoxicates them. They get delusions of grandeur. They start to feel like they're a member of a protected elite class, and they start to look down on ordinary people because the building convinces them that they must be very, very special. And I think the same thing happened at the BBC due to the building's design. They had an outer circle and then a protected inner circle, and that inner circle is really, really weird. Let's go and have a look. This is possibly one of the most famous parts of this building. You've seen it a million times on television through the years, like when you were young, in the background, news reporters. But have you ever wondered, how wide is this building? How wide is this side? I'll give you a few seconds. It's 33 meters. This little section of wall here, I mean, nowadays, since this has been redeveloped, it's just sort of like coloured stripes. But what you saw for so many decades, again and again, was a checkerboard pattern. It was hidden in plain sight. You saw it, but you didn't really see it. The Masonic influence of the building. This certainly wasn't here in the olden days, but it's just, I guess, carrying on the weird esoteric influence. Black and white, the flying horse. The flying horse represents the secret doctrine. Here it is. The inner circle. And you'll notice that the building here is called the Helios. Helios being the ancient Greek sun god. Why would they call it that? Well, the BBC decided to dedicate their entire building to the ancient sun god. There are the flames. He's holding a big circle. Of course, in the ancient world, the circle itself is the most simple symbol of the sun. The whole thing is a big circle. Of course, they have this pattern, which is a classic for ancient architecture, isn't it? And Freemasonic architecture. Kind of a walking line, goes all the way around. Of course, this has been redeveloped, and they've actually redone the flooring here, so now it's just these kind of grey, kind of granite. But originally, there was something here that was a lot weirder, spookier. It was a ring that went all the way around. Can you guess what the design was? It was a checkerboard pattern all the way around, which essentially, as far as I'm concerned, turned this into like a worshipful altar to the sun. It's almost like they created a Masonic temple here. Very, very odd. Of course, when the BBC were operating here full time, in the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, they were acting, literally acting like normal, upstanding, regular people. But in reality, they had formed an initiation cult, an inner circle. Also, you may notice that there is a set of steps that go down there, and there have always been an underground section here. I can only imagine the 60s, 70s and whatever probably had some pretty wild parties. You've got to walk into the inner sanctum, the weird occultic shrine. Oh, it's a gym. It's a gym and a plant room. Here's a door. This one's open. Whoa! Dude, what is this? It's a swimming pool. Yeah. They're like making like a leisure centre here or something, is it?
No, this is just a refurb. That's the sauna, there's the sauna down there, sauna room.
Oh, wow.
Showers.
Showers, yeah. Yep, there's one of the studio entrances just there. Oh, is that one of those red lights that means they're on air or something? Might be. Possibly is. There's a big truck coming. I'm just wondering if I could have a quick peek through that door. Well, just like 2 seconds, just have a quick peek and then I'll leave. Is it okay? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's workers, not shirkers now, is it? Exactly.
This is BBC Studio Works, is it? Okay, cool. So what sorts of programmes do you record here nowadays?
Oh, it's all top secret.
Oh, is it?
It's a whole mixture of, it's different every day.
They don't do news here anymore, do they? So it's just like sitcoms or something like that? Yeah, that sort of thing. Entertainment. Yeah, cool.
Light entertainment.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, look at these sets. Pink and blue. SO Television Limited. Ancient lights. What the hell?
That's it. I'll start taking these down. Ed?
This is a recreation of Fawlty Towers where they have the dead body inside a rolled up.
How many small rugs is there? 3.
I'm going to leave. Thank you very much. The reason that they built this to be a big sort of circle, inner circle, outer circle sort of thing is to make the movement of people much more efficient. And that really, really reminds me of something. I don't know if you've ever seen this. This is the so-called perfectly socially engineered city layout designed by top masons in the 1920s. I think the cog shape, if you can see that in the middle, that is significant. That is the symbol of engineering the masses. And in my view, that is the exact function and purpose of the BBC, to engineer people. Now look at the design of the roof of this building. It's a cog within a cog. Actually a lot like the inner wheel of the Rotary Club. The BBC have always been an arm of the government, but their magic is wearing off, and people are starting to see what they really are and what they have always been, which is an elitist cult who lie for money, working for the government to socially engineer Britain. And I'm sure they get a kick out of doing it. It makes them feel special, like they're a member of an elite club. In my humble opinion, the BBC should, like the White City, crumble and cease to exist.